This podcast episode is the message you're going to need to hear today if you are, for even a moment, thinking about stopping the thing that you are doing. Whether you've been in it for a week, a month, a year, 3 years, 5 years, if you are consistently in a thing, whether it's your business, social media, getting better at a skill or a hobby, whatever it might be, and you are even for a moment thinking, oh my God, when am I going to get any better at this? When are the results going to show up? When am I going to go viral on TikTok? When am I going to have a podcast that's in the top 15 entrepreneurship? Might be talking about a friend, might be talking about myself on that one. If you are thinking for even a moment, but when does it happen? Today's episode is for you. It's a quickie. It comes straight from my own heart and brain because it's something that I definitely have to really coach myself on. I'm very aware that as business owners, we love the journey, but also set a lot of made up and false deadlines and goals and comparisons with other people's journeys on ourselves. And it was most reflective for me, this whole concept of how long does it actually take to get somewhere? How long is considered the right amount of time to get to 7 figures, to go viral, to create the business you want? Do we ever get to that point when we go, oh, we've created the business we want? And in 2019, at my PA, it was a challenging year for me. It was not my favorite year in business. Looking back now, I can see all the reasons why. We had people in wrong seats. My energy, I was probably quite burnt out, so I just wasn't doing the right things. And we stayed at around about 390,000 profit. We stayed at around about 390,000 revenue that year. We very stagnant. It was a lot of work and effort for hardly any reward. I didn't have the rhythmic acquisition of clients on the go. I specifically remember at the beginning of that year losing a client and one of our teams saying, okay, well, I've got space now to take somebody else on, and me saying, well, I don't have anybody queued up to come on. So just like the whole year was very like scarcity mindset for me. Why am I doing this? And at this point, I had been in business for 11 years. So for me, that year, I mean, a bit burnt out, but also just a bit like, oh my God, like, is it going to be like this for the rest of, like, is this where I get to? Is this where my journey ends at 400K? And 400K is amazing also. I totally know that. I'd set up my own boundaries in my head of, I wanted to really do 7 figures. And it, honestly, now looking back, it was more Emma needs to prove to herself that she can do it than anything else, to be honest. But that year, I wasn't even particularly enjoying it, and 18 months later, so at the end of that year, I remember just like I was ready for Christmas, ready for the break, definitely thinking, and I particularly think around that Christmas time, I'd said to myself, right, I'm going to give it another 6 months and see what happens. Well, lo and behold, in the next 6 months, COVID raised its head. I actually had an offer to buy my business, even though everything I've just said, I had an offer to buy my business just after Christmas because this particular business wanted me to go and work in their business to grow a virtual PA business inside it because it didn't exist and they wanted to do that. So that happened, didn't do that because I was like, I still had stuff to prove, and COVID came along, and then COVID kind of decimated part of my customer base for about 3 or 4 months, and then it came back stronger than ever, quicker than ever. That rhythmic acquisition of clients had solved itself because I then had the time in COVID to do more marketing, show up, do more video. I was doing webinars. Why don't I do webinars anymore? Anyway, I actually mental note to myself, think about webinars. But literally 18 months from the end of 2019, my PA was on its way to 7 figures, and by the end of the year had done 7 figures. And so when I allow myself to sit down and properly think about my journey, reflect on things, that lesson is one of the biggest lessons I've ever had, in that everything is always changeable. It's always possible to improve it. And when it feels at the darkest, it's, I think, almost always closest to the success, to the winning, to whatever that is to you. And I mean, in my mindset, a lot of why I was unhappy in 29 was self-inflicted in a way, in that I didn't think I was where I should have been, whatever that is. But it was all stuff I'd completely made up in my head, because I'm comparing myself to others, because I've got this chip on my shoulder at this point to go, Emma should be able to generate £1 million business. I do know from speaking to lots of other people that run masterminds and coaches that 7 figures is like, it's like a magnet to business owners. Like, that's the thing, they want to be able to do that. I guess because not a lot of business owners actually get to that point, but anyway, that's another topic. But yeah, so this journey that I was on of I want to quit, but then actually completely flipping my business around is one of the biggest learnings I've had. And it's just a massive contradiction, because as business owners, we love the journey, we love the chase, we love the new lead coming in, we love the client, the new client happening, the meeting on Friday that's a potential big opportunity and what's going to come from it. I think we love the journey and we get addicted to it, but I think a lot of us also have a real contradiction with the journey, that we put pressure on ourselves to go, but it needs to be quicker than this, but when am I going to hit that, or when am I going to do this, or when am I going to get the results? And so we set these timelines in our heads, and then if we're not doing it, we consider ourselves failing and that the thing isn't happening fast enough, when there is no manual on how fast anything is meant to happen. Like, that is the complete irony that I tell myself all the time. Like, all of this, Emma, this isn't good enough, this isn't happening fast enough is completely made up in my head. And I find the pattern is everywhere. I'm not just talking about revenue figures here, whether it's like for us, we spending a lot of time and attention on creation, on being a creator, on content, on putting stuff out into the world. Crispin joined us in January. Amazing addition. We're now showing up. He's our full-time video and content creator. We're showing up daily online. We are putting a minimum at the moment of a post out per day. And of course, Emma's head goes to, but how quickly is it until we get to this number of followers or this number of likes, or what does this mean, or when are we going to get more engagement? Or you put all the effort into this really perfectly crafted reel and it does nothing, and then I'll kind of film something on the way home off the cuff and it's like got all the engagement. Yesterday I interviewed an amazing podcast guest who is going to be on in about 4 weeks' time, Sammy Ard King, and he is a financial content creator. He helps the UK manage their money better. And he had the most amazing analogy. He's been growing a podcast for the past 5 years, and he said to me that about 100 times he must have thought, do you know what, I'm really going to have to stop this now, because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, doesn't feel like anything's happening with it. My audience has stagnated, nothing's really happening. And then last year, so he's been doing it for 5 years now, last year in the 5th year, he accumulated over 1 year 500,000 downloads. Now, if you know about podcasting or you don't, that is considered very good in the podcasting world. But it was the previous 4 years of consistently putting out the thing that didn't feel that good, or just doing it anyway, or getting better and just consistently showing up. And the marginal gains of one by one got him to then having amazing podcast sponsors, to growing his audience, to growing his reach. And he had the most brilliant saying, which was that for him, like growing the podcast, growing his audience, he's got around about 250,000 followers on Insta. It's felt like chipping away at a boulder, like a massive boulder with a toothpick. And I totally get it, because when you're constantly like chipping away at that, you don't see anything particularly change until you do it consistently and long enough. And then the next minute you've got 500,000 downloads on your podcast, or you've got one of the biggest banks sponsoring your podcast. Like, these things kind of take a long time consistently and then change overnight. Only 3 weeks ago have I had the same experience. So this is now a much more concentrated period of time. I had a mentoring session with my mentor, Nigel Bottrell, and he was like, Emma, you really need to get rhythmic meta ads happening in your business. I know it can work. I know it's going to be fantastic for you. It's going to bring in a lead flow you don't have at the moment. And he's like, I really think you should get informed and teach it yourself so you understand it. You should get someone else at some point to do this, but right now I think you should properly understand it so you can create better content, the ads, the creative. Like, once you understand it, you'll get into it. Well, starting a brand new thing from scratch, it's not like I went into Facebook ads going, I really want to be an expert. but I'm like, no, I'm down for this. Nigel said it's the right thing. I'm going to try it. And Nigel has got a really brilliant online course to teach Facebook ads. Well, I spent Saturday, my nights, sat there watching all of these videos about pixels and audiences. And at the time when I'm watching all these videos, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. This feels like I'm going to waste money and time, and it's all going to be very frustrating for Emma. So I've spent a lot of time watching about the theory behind it, how to create, craft, post, publish, test, split, everything about ads. So I did this over the course of 7 days, completely consumed it all, crammed, as the word is when you're revising, crammed it all in a week, set my first ad live a week later. 5 days in, again, Emma's like, okay, 5 days in, I haven't had a click, I haven't had a call, and I'm just aware that we as business owners very easily set these deadlines to go, but when is it happening? When is it happening? And lo and behold, Nigel was totally right, because on day 7 of my Facebook ad live experience, a discovery call was booked in, and now I'm like, we're off to the races. Now I start to feel more confident. And I think it's that the part of the journey is that when you consistently do the things, one little thing is going to pop up, whether it's a comment from someone that the video you put out was really helpful, whether it's a discovery call being booked in, whether it's just a member of the family going, oh, fair play to you, I didn't know you were doing that. Or whether it's over the 18 years of growing and running a business that I think we owe it to ourselves to pull and record all of the little signals and things that pop up to go, keep going. I think I've mentioned this before on my podcast, but in my photo folder on my phone, I have a folder called encouragement. And if ever I get a reply to an email, a comment online, good ones this is, I do get some bad ones too, but whether it's a good comment, a reply to an email, something from a team member, just anything that's like, oh, do you know what, I should be more grateful, like that's come across my desk, that somebody said that, and I screenshot it and save it, so that in those moments where you're like, oh my God, have I got the patience to do this, do I know what I'm doing, I will just have a little look and go, yeah, come on, Emma, get a grip. You never know who's watching. You never know what's going to pop up next. That's the amazing thing about growing and running a business. The inquiry that pops in through the website, or the email that comes in, that's like the next opportunity, the next exciting thing, the next thing you weren't expecting. I think we all need those little encouragement folders just to go and yeah, I'm on the right path. There is good stuff happening. If we don't document it, it's really, really easy to forget. So rather than having to potentially journal or diarize or write all these things down, I think just having a really good encouragement phone folder is one of the best things you can do, just for those moments of just bringing myself back to reality that there's loads of good shit happening in my business. And just to pull it out a little bit wider out of the MyPA SME business world, there are so many examples of this happening that people will have felt... I talked about my 2019 experience. People will have had way worse experiences. Did you know that James Dyson had 5,126 failed Hoover prototypes before 5127 clicked and Dyson was born? That's how many iterations he'd been through. KFC, Colonel Sanders, he had 1,065 rejections before he got the yes. And to put the cherry on the cake, the guy was 65. Now, I know you might be listening to this going, yeah, but Emma, I don't want to wait till 65 till I get my yes, or I get my payout, or I get my thing, or I get whatever I consider success to me. But the thing is, we don't ever know when that hockey stick growth is going to fly. We just need to keep consistent. As in, Colonel Sanders turned up 1,065 times, still put forward his idea, his recipe, his secret sauce, secret spice mix? And then it was yeah, this is happening. And his consistency paid off. And if you're like, Emma, give me an example of somebody that is not 65 years old. MrBeast was posting videos for 5 years until the hockey stick happened. And if you're thinking, what the hell is she talking about? There is hockey stick growth curve, which is, it's so muted, the graph, it consistently stays stagnant until all of the marginal gains have compounded and growth just shoots off like a hockey stick. Like MrBeast was posting videos for 5 years with barely any views. He is now the biggest creator on YouTube. Never mind just YouTube, Netflix, products. Like 5 years he consistently, now don't get me wrong, he was 5 years consistently showing up a lot, but it didn't happen overnight for him. Airbnb, whether you love them or not, the founders were selling cereal boxes to survive to make this idea happen. They are now a $75 billion company. And if you're like, Emma, 75 billion, Airbnb, I can't connect with it. If we bring it down a level, the average podcast gets fewer than 100 listeners in total for the first 18 months to 2 years. It's only after that consistent point that some sexy growth stuff starts to happen. For me, it happens in almost every single thing you can learn, try, grow, create. It's not a 1 year thing, a 2 year thing, a 3 year thing. There is no such thing as an overnight success. These things are consistency. Everybody online now that we're, Alex Hormozy, 10 years he's now been in this. It's only been in the past 12. I think he started his social profile about 5 years ago. It's only in the past 12 months that he has hockey sticks. Gary Vee was at Wine Library since 2006, 2007. It was only really 2016, 2017 he started to daily blog. But that was because his consistency was so prolific and so there was so much volume in it. Like Alex Hormozy's quote, which is, make it unreasonable, do so much work that it's unreasonable that you won't succeed. And I think that's I just wanted today's episode to be about, if you're in the middle of a business, a project, your socials, a podcast, something creative. I have seen about 3 people in the last week put something on social media that has said, oh, do you remember this? Then they'll flash up a old cover of a podcast that they used to have. And it's either in the top 10 or the top 20, or it was doing really well, or they had all these sexy guests on it. I've literally seen about 3 people do this in the last week and go, oh, remember this? Why did I stop doing that? Oh, I think I'm going to restart my podcast. I would be gutted if I was them. So many people stop things just as it's getting good. Just as they've put 2 or 3 years and it's oh, well, nothing's really happening with it. Consistency every single day. You have to make it unreasonable that you are not going to succeed. There's so much consistency, work and effort going into this particular thing. It's just a foregone conclusion. At some point, this thing is going to fly. And one of the best examples I found when I was researching this, I was researching give me examples of things that consistently need the reps and then you see the growth, this hockey stick growth. And Mother Nature has the best example. So bamboo grows underground for 5 years. All the stuff's happening under the ground. You can't see anything. You don't even see any little green shoots. You don't see anything popping through. For 5 years it grows underground, and then within 6 weeks it shoots up 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet, however tall bamboo grows. But that happens in 6 weeks. For most of its life, it's just been doing the reps, putting out the posts, putting out the podcast episodes, sending the emails, consistently doing the thing. And then in 6 weeks, everything happens for it. And I just think it's the best example for business owners. I'm recording this and tomorrow it's Good Friday. We're going to have a few days off for Easter. And I just want this to be just a short, sharp reminder for anyone that's just thinking, oh my God, when is this going to happen? It's going to happen. Just keep going. I thought about closing my business a lot in 2019. I am so glad I didn't. Sammy, who I interviewed yesterday, who's going to be popping up into your ears in about 4 weeks' time, thought about closing his podcast 100 times because it didn't feel like it was delivering anything to him. He now has an audience of 250,000 followers, downloads last year of 500,000. He's growing a fintech app off the back of the audience on his podcast because they're all raving fans and they are now signing up as customers. I'm sure he's extremely glad that he didn't start the podcast. I'm sure that Colonel Sanders was really glad that he knocked on the 1010th door that said, yes, you are so close right now. Don't stop. None of us know exactly when that thing's going to fly, but it's going to happen. Just don't stop. But the only way to find out when it is going to happen is just to keep going. So I hope today's episode just makes you have a think about what is one thing that you're thinking about or have nearly quit that you're going to be like, no, need to get back on it, stop complaining about it, do the reps, do the thing, it's going to happen. So I would love for you to just think about what is one thing that you constantly think about, oh my God, should I still give this the energy? What's one thing you might have quit recently that you're like, no, I need to keep doing the reps? What is that one thing you're going to breathe back into life? You're just going to consistently enjoy the process, do the thing, because you know it's going to, you know it is going to turn out exactly how you want it to be. I hope this episode landed for you today. If it did, share it with somebody that you think would also benefit from it. And if you get a moment, liking and subscribing means the world to podcasts, and it does all the good stuff to get it further along the journey. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next week in an interview. See you then. Bye.